Hi, welcome back to my channel. You read the title. This is gonna be my Korean update video from 1 year from the last time I talked about my Korean on this channel, except it's 11 months, so I guess it's not actually been a year yet. I'm filming this 11 months after. I don't know when I'm gonna upload this. Who fucking knows what goes on in my brain? I certainly don't. I talked in the other video, I'll link it in the card thing. I don't actually know which side it's on. I talked in that video about why I decided to learn Korean and stuff, so I'm basically just gonna spend this one talking about my method that I've been using, and then I'm gonna give you guys an update on what my level is like. Also, I forgot to say this while I was actually filming yesterday, so I'm saying it now while editing, but I started learning Korean in the December of 2020, so at the time of filming this, it has been 15 months of me actually learning Korean. I thought that was important, but I forgot to mention it in the video. Bye. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about is my philosophy on how to learn languages has completely changed in the last year or so. Before Korean, I didn't have any language that I tried to learn by myself that I didn't abandon after a month, basically. French I learned in school, so I wasn't in charge of my own study plan and everything for French, but Korean was the first language that I was okay, I'm gonna learn this language, and then I actually stuck with it. So my entire perspective on how I think at least I should go about learning a language is changed compared to what it was before. I started out being very much kind of in Speak Early school of thought, where I literally, the way I started out was I literally, I learned to read the script, and then I immediately went on Tandem, and I Googled how do you say hello. I copy pasted 안녕하세요. I went on Tandem. I sent that one word long message to 20 people. They would reply, and then I went on to Google again, and I was what the fuck do you say after that? How do you actually have a conversation? And that was how I started. That was basically how I started out in Korean, and it was actually pretty effective for the first couple of months that I was doing it. I basically would look up vocabulary as I needed it while I was talking to people, which at that point I wasn't having very in-depth conversations in the first place. It was what are your hobbies, and then I would have to Google what word they just used because I didn't know the word for hobbies yet, and then I had to Google the word for at least one of my hobbies so I could tell them what it was. And I usually went with the same topics of conversation over and over again, and they were very simple conversations. It wasn't not hard complex stuff, but that's basically how I learned things. As soon as I thought of okay, I want to say this now, I would Google the grammar for that, and then I would Google the vocabulary for it, and put them together, and then send it off to whichever stranger I was talking to that day. It worked fairly well for me for a couple of months, but then I kind of realized I'd hit a wall. The reason that approach worked so well for me for the first couple of months was that I was basically having the same conversation over and over again on repeat, and I basically never went deeper than that. So that basic stuff that was hi, my name is Alexis, I am 22 years old. I was 22 back then. That's crazy. I'm 23 now. Is that messed up? Anyway, I'm from India. I live in the US. Those couple of things, I just said them so many times. Not verbally, but on text, that I they got like really well ingrained in like my brain. But going past that level of conversation was like basically impossible for me, because I never really had to like on I don't know if you've used Tandem, but conversations tend to die out very quickly. Like people will have like a short like 5-minute conversation with you and then just never reply again, which is fine, but that just meant that I was introducing myself over and over again, but then not ever getting past that point. And that was like my main method of study. It was around April, May last year when I kind of fell down this YouTube rabbit hole, as one does, and I ended up on like immersion language learning YouTube with like Matt vs. Japan, Steve Kaufman, like Days of French and Swedish, like those people. And I went, oh, that's interesting. And I'd seen like a couple of their videos before that like advocated for more like input heavy learning, but I kind of just dismissed it completely, because I was just like, no, I was like, I am an expert, like don't tell me what to do. And also like I think my first like video that I ever watched was like one of Matt's, and he's kind of not like in favor of doing output very early in your language learning journey, and I was like, I want to talk to people, so like shut the fuck up. I mean, like I'm not trying to like start beef or something, but that was like basically what my attitude was at the time. But then like April, May, I like fall down this rabbit hole again, and like the second time I was like, oh, maybe they kind of have a point. So I didn't like immediately switch over. I switched over in like June, but when that happened, I was basically just thinking about that. So like every time I would try to like have a conversation with someone, I'd be like, is this actually helping me, or am I just messing around at this point? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't helping me. So I changed my like strategy completely. I started using like dramas as my main resource for studying. For grammar, my grammar was pretty good by then, because I went like hard on grammar as a beginner. I just like inhaled like a couple of grammar books, and like every single like grammar resource that I could find online for free, like Go Billy on YouTube, Talk to Me in Korean like website, howtostudykorean.com. I know like some people say that one's not that good, and I don't disagree, but like I just like went through all this stuff, and like I just like kept looking stuff up over and over again, because like new grammar forms came up a lot more than new vocabulary did for me, because I would only talk about like the same two topics over and over again. So my grammar was honestly not that bad. So for grammar, I basically decided to like scrap the constant studying. For vocabulary, because my vocabulary was absolutely terrible back then, kind of still is now, I'll talk about that in a bit, but for vocabulary, I started doing like flashcards. I did memorize for a while, and then I got bored of it, so I started doing Anki, but then I got bored of it, so I'm currently not doing any flashcards actually, but like I did memorize for about a month, and I did Anki also for about a month with like different like decks, and memorize was like during that summer, and Anki was like during like September and like a bit of October, I think. So like that's kind of like the timeline that I had, and mostly I would just like watch dramas, and I don't like doing any of the sentence mining stuff that people recommend for like immersion, mostly because it's like really annoying, and I want to make my life as simple as possible for myself, because if I don't, then I'm just not going to learn any Korean. Like I was like I like wanted to do sentence mining, but then I looked into like, oh, like getting the audio and then like putting the stuff here, and then I have to do the reviews, and I was like, I'm not like I just don't want to do that, so I'm just not gonna do that. It's fine. And I like, and yeah, that's the end of the sentence. So that's what I do now. I basically watch dramas, or sometimes I watch like YouTube videos. I like a couple of K-pop groups, so like whatever kind of stuff they post on their YouTube channel, I'll like go and watch that. And I watch it like with Korean subtitles, and when I don't know a word, I have this extension for that works with like Netflix and YouTube called, I think it's like Language Reactor now. And I basically just look it up on that, and then if that doesn't make any sense, I either like go and actually look it up on Naver Dictionary, or I just completely ignore it. And that's what I do. With that like out of the way, I'm gonna talk about what my level is like in Korean now. It's like not good. There's this like level test on the website for Sejong Hakgang. That's like free, and you can take it like once every 3 months or something. And I took it for the first time in April of last year, and I took it again in February, so a month ago now. I'm gonna put it on the screen somewhere. I don't know, that's like a problem for me to figure out while I'm editing. This is 10 months apart, like pretty much to the day. I somehow managed to take both of them on the 15th of the month. This is like how much I've improved, I guess, in those 10 months. So it's not actually a year, it's actually a 10-month learning update, I guess. But they're like different levels. So the first one that I took was like the beginner level, and this one that I took last month was like the intermediate level test, which is why the scores are worse. But I'm actually fairly happy with it. Vocabulary is my weakest, and it pretty much always has been for like Korean and also for French. Every single foreign language I learn. What I'm saying is that this is like how much I've improved, and that is the end of the sentence. And so I am going to move on to talking about how much television I can understand now. I actually can't understand that much. When I'm watching a drama, I can, like, of course the like visuals and everything also add to how much I can understand. So I'm like also like with everything being considered, the total like comprehension I have of the drama, I would say is like 80%, like on average. Why did I say that weird? Is 80% on average. There are some scenes in which they use like a lot of vocabulary that I don't know. And the thing is, I know like a lot of like general words, but I don't know like the specific words. And usually you get most of the meaning in the sentence from like the very specific words. So because like I don't know a lot of the like more specific words that are actually like very important to actually figure out what the entire sentence means, there's a lot of stuff that like I get like the gist because of the like images on the screen and like all the musical cues and stuff, but I don't actually understand what they're saying until I look up the words. For grammar, I actually don't really need to look up that much grammar nowadays. There's still some stuff that I don't understand that I actually do see pretty frequently, but I feel like I've already looked it up so many times. If I don't understand it now, I think I'll just understand it like 5 months from now, I guess, or maybe like 5 years from now. Who knows, honestly. But it's like I've already tried to like understand it, and I don't. So I'm not gonna like stress myself out about that. I feel like it'll come when it's supposed to. I feel like maybe my brain's just not ready for that yet. I was like watching an episode of My Name, like the drama, earlier today, and I wrote down how much like I had to like stop to look stuff up. So for 30 minutes, because I only watched 30 minutes today, for 30 minutes of like one episode, I had to look up 44 words. Like, take that how you like. Some of them were like doubled up, like they used the same word like later in the episode, and I was like, I know I looked this up earlier, but I completely forgot what it means. I do try to read, but I find it pretty hard, partially because just like reading in a foreign script is harder, but also because I think it's just more like vocabulary that I'm just not really used to seeing, and that's what's like making it so hard for me. I like started reading a web novel recently, and I don't have to look up like too many words, but I actually still have to look up like quite a few words. Like even like I don't think I've read an entire sentence in that like web novel yet where I didn't have to look up anything. It's just like, so it's just like it's very like stressful for me to like read stuff still. So I'm I'm kind of putting that off currently. I don't think I should, but I am, because it's hard and I don't want to do it. And I understand like maybe like half of what's going on all the time, so it's not actually that much fun unless I look stuff up, and then it's not fun because I'm looking stuff up instead of reading shit. You know what I mean? You can't answer me, I'm in the past. For writing, I don't write like I do in English, because I don't do that in any other language actually. But I like text people in Korean. There are like a couple of people on Tandem that I still talk to who I met like not yesterday. So like that, and I'm in like a couple of group chats, but honestly most of the group chats are just me reading stuff because people type so fast that I can't like keep up with them. I can talk about like a couple of like basic topics, like very like, oh, like I like cooked like dinner today kind of stuff, because I always forget the words when I need to say them. But I can like my active vocabulary is like not that like great honestly, but like my passive vocabulary is like fine. So that's like what makes it hard for me to write a lot of stuff, because I just don't remember the words. Like I just they're in like a different part of my brain, I guess. I don't know that much about neurology. Is it neurology? Well, regardless. I'm an English major.
제가 어제 영상 찍을 때 한국말 진짜 잘못해서 다시 찍는 거예요. 아, 뭐지? 한국어 말하기 실력이 어떻게 됐는지 한국어로 알려드리겠습니다. 예. 진짜. 저는 자주 연습 안 하는데 혼잣말 많이 해요. 그냥 요리할 때 특히 혼잣말 많이 하는데 친구랑 얘기해 본 적이 없어요. 한국 친구 있는데 우리 그렇게 친하지 않아서 한국어로 얘기하기 좀 어색해요. 근데 제가 아이토키에서 튜터랑 얘기했는데요. 많이 비싸가지고 자주 한 거 아니에요. 디코에서도 다른 사람들이랑 얘기하는데 그냥 조금 긴장돼서 많이 하네요. 그냥 지금은 저에게 얘기 잘하는 게 중요하지 않아가지고 연습 많이 안 하는 거예요. 어, 왜냐면은 지금은 그냥 드라마랑 유튜브랑 영화 많이 봐서 얘기할 사람 없거든요. 네, 그냥 그런 거죠. 그냥 저 한국어로 얘기할 필요 없어서 그냥 안 해요. 근데 그리고 어, 말할 때 그 단어 뭔지 잘 어, 기억이 안 나서 그래요. That was not grammatically correct. 아, 그리고 문법이도 얘기할 때 더 어려운 것 같아서 그래요. 그냥 얘기하기 지금은 필요 없어서 연습 안 해요. 더 이해 잘 할 수 있으면 얘기도 더 연습할 것 같아요. 네, 네, 그 다야. 네, 그게 다예요.
I feel like what I'm like getting out of this whole situation is that I'm the same in every language, by which I mean I literally just forget what I'm talking about in the middle of the sentence that I'm saying. Which is less of an issue in English because I speak way faster in English, but like I don't speak that fast in Korean. So by the time I lose my train of thought, I sound like two words, which is great. But I'm gonna conclude the speaking like section with that. I hope you got a great idea of how well I can speak. Okay, I'm like almost done with the video. I keep literally just forgetting what I'm saying in the middle of the video. I think my ADHD got worse, but basically what I would like to do going forward with like my Korean, what my like goals are, what my plan is for the next, I don't know, year I guess, because I guess I'm doing these every year now. Don't hold me to that. Is I want to learn like more vocabulary, like so much more vocabulary. Like please, oh my god. So I'm going to try to do like flashcards again. I don't love doing flashcards, but I feel like it works. I just hate doing them. So I'm gonna maybe, I used to do like 10 every day. I think I might just do like 5 every day, and then that way I have to do less shit. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna try to actually like get more like input in Korean. Like my thing right now is like dramas. I know that it's not like natural speech or whatever, but like that's a problem for me to fix later, you know. They're like the easiest thing for me to understand currently that I'm actually like interested in, so like, you know, not like children's picture books. So I'm gonna try to watch like more shit in Korean. This is just like a great excuse for me to procrastinate on other things in my life. I'll just be like, it's fine, I can watch like dramas in Korean. This is like studying. And that is the end of the video. Like that's what I want to do in the future. Did you like this video? Please tell me if you did or didn't. I guess like you're entitled to your own opinion. And if I made any mistakes in Korean, then I guess like correct me, but also please don't, because I don't actually know. I don't like wanna, I don't want my ego to be injured. You know what I mean? I'm so tired. What am I doing? I need to like go to bed at 11 p.m. like a 10-year-old. I feel so like I've been like so just like out of it recently. I feel like delirious. Like even just like filming this video. I ate like food, you know? But my brain is like, what's wrong with her? You know? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna, okay, end the video, bye.